I really want to go back. I'm completely stuck.
Some Inuit from northern Quebec who leave their community to come here to Montreal for help end up falling through the cracks. Some wind up on the streets, like Annisee Papialuk. She's from Kudurapik and is now over 1,000 kilometers from home in Montreal and living on the streets. Like many, she had to come for medical reasons and has stayed for over 18 years.
I came down south because I ended up having a broken collarbone, and I didn't want to be cast like this, so I ran out and I ended up being stuck here.
Once the person gets treated here in Montreal and the contact wasn't maintained all this time with the village and with his community or her community, it's very dramatic because the person finds himself like in Montreal, okay, my treatment is done, what I'm gonna do now?
They're in the big city of Montreal and somehow end up falling through the cracks. They end up missing their flight or whatever, and it's such a culture shock from living in Montreal to living up north.
Back in August, 2 young Inuk women in separate incidents days apart were killed after being hit by cars while they were crossing a highway near a facility they were staying awaiting medical treatment.
This incident wouldn't happen if they were informed well what life is different than here. They know that here in Nunavik, the communities are very small. Well, they develop, but they're smaller, and we don't have a highway. There was some just missing information and support for this not to happen.
More structured in the system, and to communicate more and to exchange details about the profile of the person to better help.
If you really want to make things right, it takes supporting people in the north while they're in the north in the first place. More support, more resources, more funding to help support people when they first get here, because after several years it's much more difficult to reintegrate to northern life.
If I go back up north, the whole family is ignoring me.
In Montreal, Alyssia Rubertucci, City News.